What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9 only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans. Now we are going to once again revisit the cliffhanger from this week's episode. And yes, don't worry, I'll have my Sisters review and a Calvin video. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. But lo and behold, even though the episode did have a lot of talking points from Miss Lisa confronting Aaron to Calvin telling Sabrina about his past, I mean, everybody's talking about the Jasmine fall, if you will, and there's just so much to take away from that. But for this particular video, I'm just going to kind of revisit that scene again because yesterday I posted a video, is Jasmine dead? This isn't a question so much as is if she's dead or alive, because if you saw the beginning of that video, I had the scene where she fell along with the beginning of next week's trailer, which, yes, I will be doing a trailer breakdown. She's still alive while she's on top of the car. And then she's eventually taken to the hospital, and then it's up to speculation now as to whether or not she survives. But this video is asking the question, did Jasmine bring this on herself? Or did she, I don't know what to title this video yet, but did she bring this on herself? Did she do this to herself? Kinda did. But let me just say, I went back and rewatched the scene. I actually went back and rewatched the episode of Sisters and an episode of Loving You Is Wrong earlier today. Today was mostly spent doing eBay stuff. If you want to check out my eBay store, there's a link in the description below. Free shipping on everything. Trust me, a lot of cool stuff. But with this particular scene, there was so much I missed. I was actually looking at the comment section on the Is Jasmine Dead video, and you all were pointing out things. Three big things I missed. Well, actually, one thing I'm not going to count as number 4 because I actually spoke with Crystal Lee about this. In the script, it isn't really certain how Gary walked past that black vehicle and didn't notice Jasmine. I mean, it wasn't said like, oh, that's Jasmine's vehicle or Jasmine was around it, because based on the dialogue, it seems like Gary was at a parking garage that was located near where Andy stays. So in my last video, I kind of went back and forth, like, I don't know, it's unclear. It's like, where did Jasmine pop out of and whose parking garage? But even though it wasn't clearly stated, based on the dialogue that Jasmine was saying, like, what are you doing over there to see that bitch, huh? Yeah, it seems like this parking garage was located close to where Andy stays. So this was Gary's vehicle, and it also, another thing I missed, this vehicle was full of his belongings from the house. Like, I mean, he kept telling Annie he had to go for his suits and everything to come back. So based on what we know, Jasmine came to the parking garage where Andy lives, because she does know where Andy lives because she's been there before, and found Gary's car, and whatever vehicle that she drove over there, she put Gary's things in the car, and of course tore it up with the baseball bat. Obviously popped his tires and whatnot, bust the windshields. And then she took the gas cap off. And another thing I missed, the ashes for Gary's mom, who died in a house fire when he was younger, she was pouring them into the hole into the gas tank. I didn't notice this. I thought it was just more gas or something like that, even though in retrospect, I should have known why would she pour gas in a gas tank? Again, I missed this. So thank you all for pointing that out. So she truly did go Waiting to Exhale, because of the fact that in that movie, I believe Angela Bassett's character took all of her husband's belongings and threw them in the car before setting it on fire. Pretty much the same thing here. Gary's vehicle, she came by, put all of his stuff in there, and then set it on fire. And of course, the taunting about Morris and everything, but I've already covered that. Pretty much every time Gary left the house, she was screwing him, or he was screwing her, and didn't even bother to change the sheets. So Gary will be sleeping in sheets that were covered with his dry fluids or whatever. Yeah, we already covered the gas cap. Then what? I believe, she pours most of the ashes in the urn, and Gary tries to stop her. And then the urn is, pushed on the ground. Then Gary backs off as Jasmine gets the baseball bat. And looking back, I'm like, Gary, you kind of could have dodged that first strike of the baseball bat. I mean, he literally saw it coming, and I'm not trying to make this seem like the, rush hour when Chris Tucker got kicked in the face. Which one of y'all kicked me? It's like, no, it wasn't like that. He was literally looking at her while she was swinging the bat. He could have dodged it, but plot convenience. And I mean, she did strike him 2 or 3 times before he grabbed the other end of the bat, then backhanded her so the bat would be let go. And he was disoriented a little bit, obviously, because he was struck upside the head a couple times. That's when she jumped on his back and, still attacking him. He was trying to get her off. And once again, I'm over here thinking, oh, damn, is she going to end up being flung or fall into the car and catch fire herself? But no, sadly, the moment he does get her off, it turns out that it's right when his back is turned towards the wall of the parking garage, or the barrier of the roof of the parking garage, and then she falls on top of a vehicle. So yeah, did she bring this on herself? Yeah, pretty much. And honestly, this parking garage is definitely the one close to where Andy stays. Then this would have happened regardless as to whether or not Gary actually went, because if Gary did what Andy said and social distance himself from Jazz, I'm just playing. If Gary did what Andy said, which was don't go over there, or at the very least, get the cops to come with you while you go over there, then at the very least this could have been avoided, because guess what? Well, no, actually, it really depends on the circumstances, because if Gary got the cops to go over there with him, I'm thinking that maybe Andy would have been like, or Gary, have the cops meet him there, because if the cops were to meet him at the house, then that means that this scenario still would have played out the same, because Gary would have been to the parking lot himself, and then Jasmine would have approached him as he went to his vehicle, which was torn apart, as opposed to have the cops come over to Andy's place, meet Gary there, escort him to the car, and then of course things would have played out differently. Like Jasmine may not have either popped out of or popped from behind whatever vehicle she was in, because it was like, oh damn, the cops. And then Gary would be like, my wife did this. So yeah, not to mention if Leslie was still her PI, would she have done this? Well, that's another thing. No, that's another thing we didn't think about. Leslie, in a way, as best she could be, was almost like Jasmine's conscience, pretty much, trying to lead her in the right direction. Go back to the times where Jasmine met with Andy to confront her at the, her office. This was right after Leslie came to Andy with the photos saying like, hey, is there anything you want to tell me? Then Jasmine and Andy were in a conference room at the law firm, and she went off. And, this was when Andy was telling Jasmine about, how her and Gary first met. And then Leslie was like, look, you did wrong, but I feel like you were being played, and let me convince Jasmine to work with you in order to bring Gary down. So pretty much, Leslie was, for the most part, the person who was keeping Jasmine in check as best she could. So I think as soon as she fired Leslie, Jasmine decided to take things into her own hands. So I definitely feel like Leslie was the unsung hero of keeping Jasmine from doing something reckless up until this point in the series. So we have to give Leslie props for that as well. And then another thing to think about is, again, like I said in my other video, I don't condone domestic violence in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, yeah, Jasmine did this to herself. Like, Gary didn't mean for this to happen. Like, once again, even if, let's say, Gary wasn't even going to his house to get his stuff. Let's say he was going to the gym. Let's say he was going out to get food. Whatever the circumstance was, based off the evidence, this was a parking garage located close to where Andy was. Even if Gary just went out to go out, things would have happened the same. Because once again, Jasmine confronted him saying, oh, what were you coming back for? You're trying to get all your shit, huh? Well, there it is. So yeah, either way, Gary would have been screwed. The only way would be if he's doing what the rest of us are doing, which is self-quarantining, is just to stay in Andy's place and don't go out anywhere. I mean, yeah, Gary was pretty much screwed regardless. He was the victim. even though he wasn't the one that was flung into the roof of a car. But look at everything this way: destruction of, well, then again, they are married, so I don't really know the statute or limitation on destruction of private property when your spouse destroys something that belongs to you while you're married. Somebody want to explain that for me? Arson. I don't really know the crime in regards to her taking his mother's ashes and pouring them in a gas tank, but I'm pretty sure that's either, I don't know if that's illegal or just downright mean. And then of course physical assault with the baseball bat. No telling how far she was planning to go with that. And I mean, yeah, Gary backhanded her, but that was for the sake of, bitch, you're hitting me with a baseball bat. And he was trying to he tried to de-escalate the situation multiple times. He tried to walk away multiple times. She got in his way. And even when she decided to back off, oh, here's your mother's urn. She's burning in hell. Let's put her in the gas tank. So, yeah, Gary was the victim in this scenario. So, guys, before you go and say, again, I'm not trying to be a Gary apologist here because he has a lot of wrong, as well as Jasmine. But I do feel like in this situation, the only way things may have turned out good is if he did not leave Andy's apartment at all. Then again, that begs the question, is this parking garage also the one that Andy uses? Because let's say Andy was going to her car. Would Jasmine approach her the same way she approached Gary? There's a lot to dissect from this cliffhanger, guys, and it really is good. But yeah, she did bring this on herself. I mean, I think and I will do a video because a few people have requested it. And I don't want to fall into that stereotype, guys, because I know over the past few months, have been like, dragging Tyler Perry from like bad wigs. You need a writer's room and you write black women in a bad way. I don't want to come off that way. I mean, I've been talking about this stuff for years, but not ranting the way people do, outsiders do, those who don't really consume Tyler Perry material the way the amount that, not just me, but we do because you're on this channel, because you too watch a lot of Tyler Perry stuff. So you know what I mean. I might be doing a video over the weekend about how Tyler Perry and his kind of knack for writing irredeemable characters, specifically the black women. Like, for example, with the Jasmine scenario, as soon as I first saw her, I'm like, oh, she's being cheated on. And one of the main characters is screwing her husband. And then as time went on, we learn a bit more. Okay, bit of mental issues that she got from her apparently her mother as well. Then not only that, we find out that, oh snap, she has been messing around behind Gary's back as well. So it's almost like, I get it. You pulled the rug from underneath us, Tyler Perry. But at the same time, you took the character of Jasmine, who honestly, I feel like I was rooting for. And I'm not, and Crystal Lee, if you're watching, I'm not just saying this because we know each other online. I'm just saying that from this perspective of a consumer, of a fan, of a viewer. I feel like this kind of took away from the value of Jasmine's character. It's almost like you took Jasmine and then put her in the same category as a Amanda Cryer, as a Veronica Harrington, as a Victoria Franklin. It's a character who we felt sympathy for at one point, but now you just kind of erased her character and made her a crazy bitch, because there's really not much that has me rooting for Jasmine now, due to the fact that she was doing just as much wrong as Gary in some aspects. I mean, who's to say Morris is the only man she's been screwing around with? Look, we're not going to fall down the rabbit hole of Alex and If Loving You Is Wrong, because trust and believe, I'm about to record that video next. But it's like, did Jasmine start messing around with Morris after she began to believe Gary was cheating? I mean, based on her early interactions with Andy and the fact that she brought up the whole private investigator being something relatively new, and again, I'm going back to the older episodes based off dialogue we've got before. It seemed to me like Jasmine may have had Veronica Harrington levels of paranoia, but she never really acted on them the same way Veronica did. It's almost like now she's finally like, you know what? I feel like there's enough doubt and enough suspicion that Gary might be cheating. So to me, this whole Morris thing doesn't seem like it was something that's just been going on for a couple of weeks, because what the Gary and Andy thing has been going on for about a year. I know it's been several months, because what originally it's like, hey, give me 3 or 4 months and I'll move out, and then Andy's like, okay, instead of 4, give me 6. So I think it's been about a year-ish, not a full year. So I think that the whole Morris thing has probably been going on for longer. So I don't know, guys. I'm kind of confused. So I do feel like Jasmine did lose some credibility with me because of the fact that, oh, wow, she's cheating too. Just like Gary. She's no better than he is. So, well, also, she did say, yeah, Gary did bring up, we went to marriage counseling for like 3 years. So, 3 years. Yeah, I don't think she's been messing around with Morris that long. Yeah. So maybe I just feel like, Gary was the one who was acting distant. Jasmine didn't want to let go of the marriage. So I would be inclined to say that maybe Gary was indeed the one who cheated first. And then things kind of escalated when. So maybe the Jasmine and Morris thing started off right around the time the private investigator was first hired. But then again, or maybe when Jasmine first got suspicious. So yeah, that's an interesting concept, because just the way that Jasmine kept going on about every time you left. So this implies this was when Gary and Jasmine were still living together. So then again, like, were her kids not at the house? Was there a babysitter? Were they at school? Yeah, there's so much to dissect in this. But yeah, either way, Jasmine did this to herself. I mean, Gary was on self-defense this entire scene. Do I feel bad this happened? Hell yeah, definitely. I don't think anybody deserves that, nor do I feel like people deserve to have their vehicles and their belongings and their dead mother's remains being poured in the gas tank and engulfed in flames. But either way, we will find out what happens next week. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Do you think Jasmine Borders brought this on herself? Yeah, she kind of did. Yeah, definitely. But with that being said, what? And this video is good because honestly, I only took notes on the scene itself. Pretty much, scene for scene. I mean, yeah, pretty much shot for shot what happened. But I didn't expect to dive this deep into it. Really going into the psychological, potential timeline of events, as well as the fact that, yeah, Gary would have been screwed regardless, because this most likely did happen at the parking garage adjacent or close to where Andy stayed at. So either way, even if Gary wasn't going back to the house, even if he was just going out to, like, I don't know, do something, then Jasmine still would have been there. So, but then again, that begs the question of when exactly did Jasmine tear apart the car? And how long was she waiting for Gary to show up? Did she anticipate that he would be leaving that day? What if Gary decided not to leave like Andy suggested and just sat up in her apartment for how many other days? Like, would Jasmine just sit out there? Again, Leslie was the one that kept her in check. So Leslie was a hero without knowing it. And Gary would have been screwed regardless. I mean, the only thing that could have been done in this scenario, based on the events, is if the cops personally escorted Gary to the house or something like that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you follow the amazingly talented Crystal Lee Naomi on social media, specifically Instagram. I will leave a link in the top comment below. Also, quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. I've been actually misspeaking this in the previous videos. You can join my Patreon for as low as $2, not $3, because I have different tiers: a $2, a $5, a $10, and a $20 tier on Patreon, where I'll be making content specifically for Patreon, not YouTube. Shout out to my patrons, my $2 tier, the Heller tier, Regis Hale, Joel Jackson, and then in the $5 tier, the Ice Queen tier, shout out to Miriam Walton and Kimberly Crawford. I'll try to do a better job to shout out the patrons in every video. You know how I'll do. I'll probably make a little picture and put the names on there, and then of course I'll add names as people join the Patreon. And again, this really does mean a lot, because this is money you are sending to Patreon, which eventually gets sent to me once I make a certain cap. I think I need to have at least $100 threshold to get the money sent to me. So basically, until I get enough patrons to have at least $100 per month, I won't get the money until the patron cost contribute to $100. So right now, $14 a month, two $5 tiers and two $2 tiers, which is amazing because, again, you don't have to do that, but you signed up, and I'm going to do my best to bring new content for you each week. I mean, we're talking fast food stuff, we're talking television shows, music, popular things, just everything and anything on Patreon, not YouTube. YouTube is the Tyler Perry stuff and other shows I review. Patreon is pretty much potpourri. All right. Another thing, if you don't want to sign up for Patreon, that's fine. Another thing you could do to donate is to simply hit me up on PayPal. There's a link to my PayPal in the description below. Also, along with all my various social media links, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook groups, Facebook pages. Literally, you don't have to send the money. You watching the video, giving the video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts, all that stuff helps the YouTube algorithm promote my videos further, leading to more ad revenue so I can pay my bills. So if you would like to donate outside of Patreon, where it's like, hey, Patreon sounds great, but I got enough streaming subscriptions and bills of my own that I can't pay every month, that's completely fine. All you have to do, send a couple bucks on PayPal. Literally, if everyone watching this video just sent $1 on PayPal, yeah, I think I'll be good. You know, I could pay off my car, pay off my credit card, and, actually put money in my savings account for a change. So again, none of that's mandatory. It's just if you want to show a little extra love, like, dude, I appreciate all the work you put into these videos. You know, aside from hitting subscribe or the bell notification icon so you don't miss out whenever I post new content, you can send a couple bucks my way there or on Cash App, either or. But if none of that tickles your fancy, once again, you watching this video helps me out more than you know. Also, quick update, no Viacom contact yet. Aside from DMing them on Instagram, contacting them on with a message from their contact us on the Viacom website. I sent a message and then I went to their Instagram, and since it's a business Instagram, I found the Viacom email address, also sent them a message there as well. So unfortunately, the Ruthless videos, if you saw the post I made in the community tab on the YouTube channel, you know that for the time being, no Ruthless content. I mean, honestly, I'll give it until maybe Monday or so, because, over the weekend, I doubt these big companies are open. I'm either going to do one or two things. Like in the post, I said I would just cut my losses and not deal with Ruthless anymore. However, the videos of Ruthless I did that do not contain a theme song were not flagged or removed. So I could either continue to watch Ruthless and review it without the theme song at all in the videos, and I may re-upload all the videos that were taken down, but they won't have the theme song in it. I want to decide what I want to do before next Tuesday. So you'll probably hear from me on Ruthless sometime next week, but just keep that in mind. Apparently episode 5 was good, but like I said, I haven't watched it yet because, until this thing is situated, I'm not going to bother wasting my time, even though I really do want to watch the episode. So all that's to say, this Gary, Jasmine, Andy, Leslie thing, way more and Morris, way more complex than I originally gave it credit for. So guys, really, when you watch these shows, and this is coming from me, the guy that people come to for theories and discussions, rewatching this scene for the third time, there's a lot of things I didn't catch, and not just the whole pouring the urn ashes into the gas tank, but me just thinking more about the complexities of the relationships between Leslie and Jasmine, then Morris and it's just crazy. It's almost like, don't even get me started on Morris. So I talk about Morris, that would just extend the video another 20 minutes. And maybe if this video does well and you want me to go into Morris, I'll probably do a separate video on that. But yeah, Sistas has 3 episodes left, 2 more episodes, and then the season 1 finale. If you haven't been watching because you didn't jump into it, I definitely suggest jumping in now. Maybe after season 1 is over, they'll put the entire season on BET Plus. As of right now, I think The Oval and Ruthless are on there, but not Sistas. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think Sistas is on there. So all that's to say, thanks so much for watching. This video is I think this video is honestly 3 times longer than I thought it was, but I'm actually liking the doing maybe a couple of videos a day instead of like pumping out 6 to 10 plus videos at one time, because when I do it this way, I'm able to really dissect the characters and the scene more, as opposed to, oh my god, I gotta record like a dozen videos at once, edit, and then post them all at one time. So let me know if you like this format. Yeah. So again, Patreon, PayPal, Cash App, optional, but you watching, that helps out a lot. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I will catch you all in the next video.